and welcome to Mondays with Mom, the podcast where my mom, Leah,
Hi.
and I, Jo, dive into her stories, experiences, and the lessons she's hoping I finally take to heart. My mom has always dreamed of turning her life into a book or a movie, and this podcast is our way of making that dream into a reality.
Thanks, Joey.
And we have a fun time doing it. So, Mom, how's it going?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I miss Tina.
I miss Tina too.
Tina, my sister, came to visit last week. And
we miss you,
we miss you lots. Shout out.
When Tina was leaving and we were at the airport together, it reminded me.
Was this a story about Tina?
It's mainly about Tina, but you always feature.
Oh, okay.
We were thinking about it and we really had a good laugh. And I think our listeners are going to kill themselves laughing as well. It's quite funny. So let me start with the background part of it. You obviously remember Greece camp.
Yeah.
And
of course, it was a great summer camp.
Greece camp was a great summer camp. So what the Greek government used to do in the good old days before the financial crisis hit.
Good old 2009.
Good old 2009. What they would do is they would sponsor children of Greek descent from all over the world.
Yeah, all over.
And they would literally pay all expenses for these children to come and attend a camp in Greece for 3 weeks and get to know each other and have fun and get to know the Greek countryside.
I mean, side note, that summer camp was the first time I ever heard a Pitbull song.
Oh, and since then we've all been obsessed.
Yeah. It was a great experience. I got to meet lots of people from Argentina, from Congo.
I'm sure Australia, Germany.
Spain, all over. We couldn't all speak English, and some of them couldn't speak Greek either. So it was a bit of hand signals, but it was a lot of fun.
Well, I remember that you almost didn't go because I tried to block your Greece camp experience kind of on the side.
The saboteur.
That's me, for 2 reasons. One was because I don't think things have changed a lot, but a little bit.
Wow.
You used to be very easily distracted. And I had visions. I had this vision in my mind of one camp counselor with all these children that are like there listening and drinking in every word the person says while you're on the Acropolis and staring at the Parthenon. And I just had this image in my mind of you, while everyone else is saying how beautiful the columns are, noticing that there's an ant walking across the marble and then going down the hill, and you like follow the ant to see where the ant goes.
This is slander.
The truth, all true. And that was the one reason why I didn't want you to go. I mean, literally, because I still wanted you around. And the second reason was that I had this fear that you would be ridiculed at camp because you were so petrified of sleeping in the dark. In those days, you actually needed like floodlights on you in order to be able to sleep. And I remember...
I think that's a tad dramatic.
Just a little bit. But I remember putting you to the test and telling you that I wouldn't apply for this camp on your behalf unless you could sleep for 30 consecutive days with a tiny little nightlight. And I kind of, in my mind, I put that nightlight, I thought, okay, that'll be like the light of the moon and the stars when you're at Greece camp.
Which in the end, that night light turned out to be a mosquito light, like a mozzie light.
Like a proper UV.
Proper huge, humongous thing that made the whole room look blue at night.
So you loved that?
Yeah, I didn't have to worry about any scared of the dark shenanigans.
And then since I, to earn my title as saboteur, I also, like, just to be 100% sure, I only... Once you got it right and managed to sleep with that little nightlight, I only applied for you 24 hours after the deadline. And yet they still accepted your application. So it was meant to be, the story was meant to be told.
It was meant to be.
So Jo had gone to Greece camp, and in those days, the Greek government was like really, really strict. They felt that while your child is at the camp, they take on the role of your parents. And they were kind of, wanted to keep their reputation, and they didn't want any child to be abducted and, I don't know, hoisted off somewhere for sex trafficking. I don't know what. Plus, they were also very strict. It was quite funny because they wouldn't allow you to go to this camp if you were turning 12 in that year, because they kind of had all bases covered. They were not going to have hanky-panky amongst boys and girls. So they wanted to catch everyone before hormones set in, like way before hormones set in.
Whoa.
So they were very, very strict. If you were turning 12, that year, at any time during that year, automatically you were ejected.
Wow.
So that was the one thing. And the second thing, they kind of took on the role of parents. So they had decided that once we put you into their capable hands, because you would be leaving on your own on an airplane, that the parents had to sign this very strict form as to who was going to come and collect you. And not only did you have to sign the form, you had to have your signature then, you had to have a copy of your passport and 3 pictures of you and mugshots, and I don't know what they wanted. It was very, well, practically,
So
it
it's
felt
very
like that.
very hectic
They were
stuff.
very, very hectic and very strict.
Wow.
So you got to go on this camp and
Had a ball, had a blast.
you had a blast, and the rest of us, obviously, we wouldn't allow you to be that far away from us.
Never.
So George, myself, Tina, and your 2 stepsisters all went on holiday. And that was the holiday that we were staying
On an island.
We were staying on an island, Zia.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or Kea, as some people call it.
Yeah.
Kea, yes.
Yeah.
And so we were staying on this island, and I knew the day that the Greece camp was going to end, we would come and fetch you.
Yeah.
Now, going to this island, the day we were going to this island while you were safely at Greece camp, the weather was shocking. It was really, really bad. We had something like, I don't know, 6 or 7 or 8 meter high waves on the ferry boat. This ferry boat was going crazy. The queue for the loo, you do not understand, was like people were standing outside it and they weren't making it into the loo. People were throwing up on the side. It was really, really awful.
Ew.
And we got to the island, we were settling down, and then came the day that we were going to fetch you. And on that day, the weather was a disaster again. And me getting very seasick, George offered, because it was a whole thing, it was a case of to come fetch you, I had to get from this island to a port. From the port, I had to catch a taxi to go to the airport, and we're going to repeat the process in reverse. And I was quite anxious because I hadn't traveled on my own for a long time. Anyway, Tina.
And you took Tina along with you.
Well, Tina said she's not going to stay behind without me. She really wanted to come along.
Oh, what a daughter.
So she kept me company. We got onto this ferry boat.
How old was she?
Well, how old were you in 2009? You can't have been more than 12.
I was 11.
You must have been 11. So Tina was 8.
9.
She hadn't turned, it would have been July, August, so she wouldn't have turned 9 yet.
So 8, wow, a little baby.
So Tina was a baby. And as good mothers do, I had made sure that from a very young age, you guys knew your names, your surnames, you knew my name, you knew our telephone numbers, you knew addresses. So, I kind of felt that's okay. Tina's going to go with me, and you also knew. So I thought, what her and I did is...
The plan was that we wouldn't get lost. But if we did, we would know how to contact you.
Exactly. So we get onto the ferry boat, and the day we're getting onto the ferry boat, the weather is a disaster. And I'm thinking, oh, Lord, I'm going to be throwing up again. And George offered to go and fetch you on my behalf. But on the one hand, I really wanted to be there. And on the other hand, because they had taken those mug shots of me and stuff and George didn't look like me, there was no way. There was absolutely no way they would allow anybody else to have this child. Already it was complicated because your surname was not the same as my surname.
Yeah, that is a complication.
So in Greece, you're not allowed to change your maiden name.
Yeah.
So I had my maiden name on my Greek passport, and you guys had your dad's surname.
Yeah, and you guys were no longer married. So
but even if I had been married, by the time we got married, the law had changed. On my Greek passport, my surname wouldn't have changed. So to give some dude who's got a completely separate surname and isn't even your biological dad, it wasn't going to work out. So Tina and I arrive. And because we were super careful, she kept me company. And again, the ferry boat went crazy on the way to the port. And Tina and I found a place and we lay down and we managed to make it without throwing up and joining the queue for the bathrooms. And I was so proud of us. We got off the ferry boat, we headed towards the airport, and we actually were so obsessed with getting this little, whatever you want to call it, journey transfer, doing it nicely and kind of not allowing George to say, oh, you don't know what you're doing. And we were so very careful that we arrived at the airport with plenty of time to spare.
For a first and a last.
A first and a last. And maybe there's a reason for that. So in those days as well, what the Greek airport used to have, because people there was no Wi-Fi.
Yeah, it was like early days.
It was early days of the internet. And what the Greek airport used to have, and a few other places as well, but they'd have these tiny little kiosks. They almost looked like a phone booth, where there would be a computer in it that kind of was covered slightly, like 3 ways round, by a plastic covering. And you could kind of go into this booth, and you had 15 minutes free access to the internet. So what people generally do is log on to, by that stage, it wasn't like that you were worried everyone's going to hack you and get your email password. And, you know what I'm saying? That wasn't a big thing yet. So you would just log on to this public computer, check your emails, log off again, and that was that. And Tina, who wasn't logging onto her emails, wanted to just go on the internet and look up games and play
games on the public computer.
Play games on the public computer. So what we did is we found these 2 computers that were back to back. And mine was working perfectly, and I'd gotten into my emails, and suddenly Tina came around and said, "Mom, mine isn't working." So I said, "Okay, well, why don't you wait for me? It's only going to be 15 minutes. She said, no, I'm just going to go over there." And she pointed.
No.
Now, that's apparently the cardinal rule. George always tells me there's no such place as there. You have to say it in words where you're going.
He's got a point.
He's got a point. So when she said over there, I looked at where she was pointing. I didn't ignore my child. And in front of me, there was a phone booth, which, as I told you, these computer booths looked like phone booths. So I thought she meant the phone booth and there was a computer booth. What she was actually pointing to, now that I know, was she was pointing to the escalators and showing me that at the top of the escalators, because the Greek airport has got 2 levels.
Yes.
And she was showing me that at the top of the escalators, there is another one of these little booths. And I didn't realize that. I thought it was the phone booth. So finally, my 15 minutes were up. And I thought, okay, first thing that went to my head is, let me check on my child. And I started heading towards the phone booth, only to realize that, oops, this is actually a phone booth.
Oh, no. So Tina was gone.
So I started looking around, and I thought, okay, she obviously realized it was a phone booth, and now she's wandering around. And I thought, okay, this is not South Africa, it's Greece. It's not that bad. Let me just stay calm.
Okay.
So I started off very calmly. Not very calmly, but I started off, my voice sounded fairly calm. And I walked around this airport saying, "Tina, Tina,
Yeah,
Tina."
you and calm don't go together.
But I was speaking kind of gently. And I kind of had gone right down to the one end of the airport. And as Tina will tell you, what she did is, at that time that I'd gone down to the one end, she came down the escalators and realized I'm not at the booth where she left me.
Oh, no.
So she went.
Oops.
Yeah, so she went the other way and was, "Mom, Mom, Mommy." And I was, "Tina, Tina," the opposite direction, and the 2 never met. She then,
what is it, like parallel lines?
like parallel lines. Then she went back up and thought, oh, maybe she must stay at the top because her mom will come find her. She had said over there.
You know, rationally, that's what you think.
And at that point,
logically,
I went down the other side of the airport. Now, a bit more urgent, like, "Tina, Tina, Tina." And like, people were looking at me weirdly. Anyway, I get back again to where the original booth is, and there's still no sign of Tina.
Now, I would be freaking out now.
Now, when Tina tells her side of the story, which she told me recently, she got to the top and realized that her mom wasn't there, and had this like, oh my heavens, so either something's happened to my mom or my mom left me. And she did what any good child would do, burst into tears.
Oh, shame, the poor girl.
So there she was crying, and some American woman who was there went up to her, and thank goodness, because, you know, I don't know.
Tina speaking Greek at that age would not have
To actually explain that I've lost my mom in Greek would probably not go well. And so she was explaining to this woman that she's lost her mom. And the woman said to her, "Give me your mom's phone number. Do you know your mom's phone number?" And she proudly said yes. And I thought, that's my girl. And she,
well, you thought in like retrospect.
in retrospect. So she calls me on the phone number. But what she doesn't realize, on my cell phone number, what she doesn't actually realize is that you're in Greece, you need to put a country code in. So my
Yes.
phone
Oh.
was a South African cell phone number, and it wasn't going to work in Greece without a country code.
Yeah.
So she needed to put the +27 country code that South Africa
and
has.
she didn't know that.
She obviously didn't know that. And it hadn't even crossed my mind that you need to teach your children country codes. Now, speaking of football, you know country codes.
Yeah.
But so this woman was trying to call, and obviously the call wouldn't go through. So what she decided is she's going to take Tina to some kind of authority, find some kind of security, and take Tina there. In the meantime,
Poor Tina,
poor Tina, who was sobbing and crying and freaked out. You have no idea how freaked out I was. By this stage, I pictured my child having her hair dyed black and wearing some different outfit and being sold as a potential sex slave or something, or killed or chopped up into pieces and used for, I don't know, medicinal purposes.
No one would ever call you dramatic.
Not at all. And so I was now in a state, and I decided, okay, what I'm going to do this time, I started, my voice had now this urgency in it, and I was going up and down saying, Tina! Like really.
How did she not hear you? So I would.
She was on the top level and I was on the bottom level.
But she would not even heard from distance.
She couldn't hear. And so then I decided that what I would do is I noticed that there was an information counter. And there were those women with their microphones. And I watched them a bit, and they would press a button to kind of open up the PA system. And they would, I don't know if you guys know, whenever you're at the airport, nobody has a clue what they're saying. I don't understand why airports can't invest in a good system. It's airports and airplanes. They're giving you like vital information, like Mr. So-and-so, you might lose your flight. It sounds something like that. You've got no idea. So I explained to the woman, in my, like at this stage, I'm half crying, half screaming, and I explained to her that I've lost my child, and that please, can she just call out the name Tina and say your mom is that information. Your mom is here waiting for you. And this woman goes, ding, ding. And I said, what? I said to her, my child's not going to understand that. And please try again. All you have to say is Tina. So she goes, ding, ding. And I thought, I now lost it. And so what I did is I grabbed the microphone from her and I pressed the button and I started screaming, Tina! In which case, this woman thought that I was some kind of a hijacker. She called security to have me arrested. Wow. So security came running, and now here they are getting ready to arrest me. And I'm explaining to them that you don't have to arrest me. I've lost my child. And so they explained to me, okay, this is very urgent and this is terrible. You've lost your child. And they're going to open up a police case. They have to open up a proper child's missing. Oh, no. And so there I was filling in the details. And while I'm filling in the details, an announcement comes on that says my surname and then says, we've got your child here waiting for you. Okay. But by the time all of this had happened, it was time for you to have arrived from Greece camp. And I was now thinking, which child do I go to? Do I go to the child that has arrived? Who do you pick? Because now they're going to think... your favorite? Well, now they're going to think that this child, there's no one to fetch her. Remember, it was a whole Fort Knox situation. And I mean, they'd even taken my mugshot. So do I go there and go to that child and pretend to be happy to see that child when I've lost the other child and can't be happy, even though I'm happy to see? Oh. And I thought, like, which child do I choose? Like, what am I supposed to do? Oh, no. And so I get myself into a complete state. I was running up and down like a lunatic. And eventually the security guards took over and they said, come, we need to go fetch this child at least. And I arrived there and it wasn't even you, it was Tina. So I start running like, I don't know if you do you remember the movie? Some older people might remember the movie Chariots of Fire. Yeah. Like, so I'm running like practically in slow motion to throw my arms around Tina. You know, like in the movies where suddenly you hear that and it stops you. Yes. So I get stopped because they said, well, hang on, this is a police case. How do we know that this is your child? Oh, no. And I'm thinking, what proof do I have that this is my child? I had proof that you were my child, which the other people have. But I didn't bring proof that Tina was my child because she was with me. Yeah. And so, anyway, I said, what proof? I said, ask the child, is this your mommy? I said, like, you're going to see us, reunite us. We're going to throw our arms. And they were like saying, no, that's not good enough. This is a police case now. And anyway, eventually.
Wow, that's so hectic.
It was really, really hectic. And then while I was trying to get reunited with Tina, then they do announce that you're there waiting. And the police were wanting to close their case. And I'm saying, I can't. I need to go fetch my other child. Now grab Tina. Oh, Lord.
Police chasing you.
With the police after me, they didn't quite chase them. They kind of like walked after me fast. And I said, I'll fill in your forms afterwards. I just need to get my child.
Wow, they must have just been thinking, this mad woman.
I just want to know, like, how happy all the people at the airport were to have one announcement that they could actually hear and understand the word Tina.
See, they probably were like freaking out.
The best is that afterwards, obviously some people had seen me do this crazy thing of grab the microphone. So as I was walking away, I don't know if you remember it because you were young. I was walking away with you and Tina. As I was walking away, people behind me would say, Tina, Tina. And I carried on walking and say, Tina, Tina, hey, Tina. I was so embarrassed, but at the same time, so relieved.
I don't think I'd care at that point. I say whatever you want. I've got my daughters.
Yeah, I don't even, believe it or not, remember the ferry boat trip back to that island. I don't even remember. From then I blanked it all out. I had both my daughters. I thought it's good. And then my best is I remember going back to tell George the story. And he said, well, if I had gone, none of this would have happened. And I thought,
he wouldn't have been able to pick me up. He would have had to come 6 hours later.
He wouldn't have been able to pick you up. So now.
And I don't think, Tina wouldn't leave George's side, but still.
And so now I wonder why Tina has like a few anxiety issues every night.
Yeah.
But they weren't caused by me.
Never.
So I'll never forget. Now, there's more stories to come about when we actually arrived on the island, but I think I'm going to have to leave that for another episode.
Yeah. Oh, what a story.
I actually still get palpitations when I think about it. I mean, it's funny now.
I feel the adrenaline as well. It's a crazy story.
Now, at the end of every podcast, you usually say, right, so the lesson learned.
Yeah, what have we learned?
Okay, so what have we learned?
Well, I've learned to be grateful that those kiosks don't exist so we can't go.
That's number one. Number two, if you're going to teach your child your phone number,
and you're in a different country, make sure to teach them the area code.
Number three, can somebody that's listening to this podcast sort out the PA systems of airports and airplanes? Please, we'd like to hear the safety notices.
I'm grateful, though, that you got to Tina.
Oh, thank goodness. Thank goodness. You have no idea. My imagination was running wild. I literally pictured her, I don't know.
Sure. Yeah, no, it must have been very, very scary.
It was.
But I'm glad that she's safe.
And I think now,
but I'm very grateful for it.
The woman that said that information, I think subsequently they put up glass panels in front of them.
You think it's the cause?
Maybe. I think I've definitely contributed so that no one can actually shove their hand in, get hold of this microphone and press the button as well. The only time I've ever seen that is like at the end of Grease Lightning or High School Musical where people are announcing something.
High School Musical. Don't slander my favorite movies.
It must have been actually Grease Lightning. Where they're making those announcements where there's a woman I don't know, that's why maybe the PA system felt familiar. I could just like press that button and go ahead. I'd watched it in a movie. I'd seen it in a movie.
Oh, it's very funny. I'm grateful that you found Tina. I'm grateful that she was okay. And I'm grateful that it's a funny story and not a sad story.
And I will never forget that as long as I live. Mm-hmm. And I'm very grateful that the Greek airport wasn't bigger than it was.
Yeah.
And all's well that ends well. I mean, I still feel palpitations when I think about it.
I feel anxious just listening to the story. I'm glad it wasn't about me.
Well, you featured. You always feature.
I featured, but guess who didn't get lost? This gal right here.
You didn't follow any ants?
I followed one or two ants. I didn't get lost.
You didn't get lost, and you had your nightlight.
And I had my nightlight, so really you should have been teaching Tina not how to wander off. Some thinking material right there.
I'll remember that for a future episode. Thanks, Joey.
Oh, on that note, yeah. Thanks, Mama.
It's been great.
It's been really fun, and I'll see you next time.
See you next time.
Goodbye.
Bye, everyone.
When I can hear your heart is singing.